I just ran my fifth marathon in 3 hours and 18 minutes. And the biggest takeaway wasn't about running faster, it was realizing just how much the human body is capable of when the mind finally gets out of the way. Now, if you've ever felt stuck on your own health and fitness journey, your own fat loss phase, like you feel like you know what to do, but you just can't follow through, this live stream, this video is going to be for you. Now, I ran 5 marathons. My first marathon was back in February of 2024. And the last one I did was literally an hour ago, literally just came back from it. And I've coached hundreds of busy people and made every single mistake possible along the way. And today I want to share the 5 lessons that changed how I train, eat, and think to celebrate doing my 5th marathon. Now, I want to make sure that you guys know that these are not going to be motivational quotes. These are principles backed by experience and also science. So let's start with the biggest one. The first lesson from running 5 marathons within the span of 2 years. Your body is capable of way more than your mind thinks. Your body does not quit when you think it does. Your brain does. And there's actually been research showing perceived exhaustion happens before actual muscular failure because the brain is trying to protect you from discomfort and not danger. Now, what that means is that most limits are psychologically governed and not physical ones. Because even in like the gym context, you go to the gym and you tell yourself, I'm going to do 3 sets of 10 reps using 20-pound dumbbells. And the very act of you telling yourself, almost capping yourself in a way that you're going to be doing 3 sets of 10 reps before you even start the exercise. You've already capped yourself because you told yourself, I'm going to do 3 sets of 10 reps. Whereas if you went into the exact same workout and told yourself, I'm going to do 3 sets of 11 reps, physically, your body, I guarantee you, is more than likely able to handle that extra rep. Let's say we add another rep. Let's say you go into this workout and tell yourself, I'm going to do 12 reps. Sure, it may be slightly more difficult than doing 10 reps, but you'll likely achieve it, right? And so we often go into workouts, sporting events, not even like fitness related, but like just personal life, just like life situations with this ceiling. Like there's a ceiling to what we can do. And I'm guilty of this too. Like when I did my first marathon, my goal was like, don't stop running. Literally, that was my entire goal. It's like, okay, if I can go through this marathon, I didn't even have a time in mind, but I'm like, if I can just start running and just like not stop until the finish line, that's a success for me. And now, yes, my goals kept on getting bigger and bigger and bigger, which I'll discuss later on. But just by going into certain things and already placing a ceiling on yourself, you're just capping yourself. You're capping your own potential. And so this really went like, hopefully shows you, but then more importantly, showed me as well that just have a growth mindset in every opportunity that you have, whether it's running your first marathon, whether it's doing your first workout, whether it's meeting new people, networking with more people. Just have an open mind and have a growth mindset, because as soon as you go into any situation, any event, any challenge, and you cap yourself at a certain thing, you likely could have done a lot more. And now I think if we were to reverse it and say, okay, this is like the bare minimum, right? And I think that's a lot of a better and healthier mindset to have going into anything. Instead of saying, this is my cap, tell yourself, this is my bare minimum. Anything below this, it's like not even acceptable. So I think if you were to reframe your mindset like that, I think you'd just be able to achieve so much more, especially over time. So that's the big first lesson that I learned from running 5 marathons. To not cap yourself. Do not cap your physical limitations, because once again, your body is capable of so much. It truly is. And sure, like we have to train it. It has to go through repetition. It has to go through something in order to adapt and get better, right? That's how the body works, and that's how it adapts, and that's how it grows. But if you do all the right things, there's no reason for your mind to cap your physical body. Because once again, just like we train our body, we have to train our mind as well. You do have a strong body, but it's often capped by your weak mindset. And so, yes, training your body is important, but the way that you get a stronger body that is capable of running marathons, sub 4 hours, sub 3 hours, whatever it may be, to lift a certain amount of weight, you have to first convince your mind, your brain that you can do it. Because with a limiting mindset, with limiting beliefs, you will never accomplish your goals. Once again, not just in fitness, but in anything in life. And I learned this the hard way. I've gone through so many instances in my life where I just capped myself. And looking back now, I'm like, wow, how stupid. So if you can somehow train your brain and train your mind into thinking that you are capable of so much more than you actually think, you'd be surprised. Your body will shock you. It'll show you what it can physically go through. I've done high rocks competitions. I've done 3 bodybuilding shows. I've run 5 marathons. I've done a lot of physically difficult things in my life. I had a scholarship to play soccer. I played soccer all my life. And every single time I got faced with a challenge, I somehow went through it physically. And after I was done with a really difficult thing, I'm like, wow, I kind of impressed myself there, whether it's lifting a certain amount of weight or running that extra lap or whatever it may be. And it's just so fascinating to see what your body is physically capable of if you actually allow it to, if you give it permission to. But so many people just limit themselves because of their mindsets. So if you want a stronger body, build a stronger mind, build a stronger brain, build a stronger mindset. It all starts in your head. Because the people who get results are the ones who learn how to delay that conversation in their head. You don't hit a wall, you hit a conversation with yourself. As soon as you go through something difficult, your brain will tell you to stop. But what if you just keep going? Right? Like, you can keep going, and you will keep going if your mind allows you to. So let's move over to lesson number 2, proper nutrition. This is not optional. It is the strategy. Now, this marathon reinforced something that most people ignore. Nutrition is not just fuel, it is a performance system. And this is quite funny for me because I come from a more bodybuilding-esque background where what I learned about nutrition when I first got into fitness at the age of 14, 15, which, yes, was a really young age, but I got introduced to flexible dieting and if it fits your macros. And the entire purpose of nutrition and the way it got viewed back then, at least with the content that I was consuming on YouTube, wasn't about performance-based. It was solely only based on aesthetic-based, the way what the food you ate would make you look like. That was the only purpose. It didn't matter if you felt like crap. It didn't matter if you felt lethargic, if you felt bloated after eating something. That did not matter. As long as you looked good, that was the most important thing. And now, over the past several years, as I've done more endurance-based sports and performance-based sports, I've done, once again, high rocks, 5 marathons. I started to realize that the way I was eating in the past, which sure made me look phenomenal with the shirt off, it did not make me feel the best all the time. And you will see this so often on social media. People will look great, especially like these bodybuilders, right? But if you ask them to go on a 1-mile run, they'd be out of breath within seconds. Or if you tell them to sprint up a hill, they'd be out of breath. Like, especially these bigger bodybuilders, like, yes, 100%, they look amazing and they work very, very hard in the gym. And what they do is obviously specific towards their sport. And I totally respect that. But if your mindset, or if you have goals and aspirations of just not only looking good, but then actually feeling good, and you have performance-based goals as well, like being able to keep up with your kids, playing your favorite sports, the sports you used to play in high school, then eating the way bodybuilders eat is not the move. It is not the way for you. And I had to learn this the hard way because during my first marathon, and I'll touch on this later on as well, but I was still eating like a quote unquote bodybuilder. I was tracking every single macro. I was weighing out every single grain of rice, but I just was, honestly, I was under eating. I was undernourished with the amount of demands that I placed on my body. My nutrition could not keep up with that. And I'll tell you guys what happened during my first marathon later on, but it didn't end pretty. It wasn't good at all, to be honest. So when it comes to performance-based sports, you're not eating to feel good, or no, sorry. When it comes to bodybuilding, you're not eating to feel good necessarily. You're just eating to look good. And there's a huge difference there. Now, when it comes to performance-based sports, right, like running marathons, doing high arch competitions, all these other things, even just playing your favorite sport, soccer, basketball, stuff that actually requires you to perform well. Studies have consistently shown that adequate carbohydrate intake, carbs, potatoes, rice, fruits, veggies, starches, carbohydrate intake improves endurance performance, reduces perceived exertion or perceived effort, and also preserves muscle glycogen. And so like you need to fuel your body. You need to start eating carbs if you want to perform well. Going into any race or event underfueled, you're just shooting yourself in the foot because you're not going to be able to perform to the best of your capabilities. And now I think a lot of people understand this. They realize this. But that was a mistake that I made. And honestly, like, I'll be honest with you as well. During my first marathon, like, I was actually quite scared. I kind of feared eating a bit more because of the way it would make me look. I'm like, oh, if I eat more carbs, then it's going to get stored as fat because I'm going to be in a side calorie surplus. I didn't even think about my performance. I was just only focused on my looks. How do I look? How am I going to look? How am I going to look? But that did not serve me, and it did not help me whatsoever. Huge mistake I made there. And now when you undereat, you don't fail because you're weak. You fail because your body is simply under-resourced. It is undernourished. And I noticed this during my first marathon, where once again, I was still eating like a bodybuilder, undernourished, trying to look good, but not feel good. And this applies to fat loss as well. So if your goal is to lose body fat, if you're constantly tired, if you're constantly food focused, if you're irritable and inconsistent, your plan is not broken. You just need to fix it by eating enough protein, eating enough carbs, and enough calories to slow progress. That doesn't slow your progress. And it allows you to stick to the process long enough to actually win. Because if you, in the fat loss context, if you just go all out and just completely slash your calories, you're going to burn yourself out very quickly. Whereas what I found with all of our successful clients that we help, the slow and steady approach always wins. Slight calorie deficits that you can sustain, incorporating your favorite foods. This is the way to go, because not only are you able to reach your desired result, but actually maintain it too, because you got there in a way that was enjoyable and that was fun. And then you can actually see yourself doing for not just a couple months, but for the rest of your life. Moving on to lesson number 3. Ego. Your ego will humble you if you don't check it first. So let me be real for a second. I ran my first marathon with 0 proper training. Huge mistake, obviously. And going into it, I thought I was just built different. Very arrogant, very egotistical. Because I grew up playing soccer as a kid, and I did track and field in high school. So I told myself that, oh, because I come from a sporting background, I used to run a lot. I don't need to practice for this marathon. Stupid. And I remember I was that kid in high school, like, who was viewed as this athletic kid. I remember I used to go on like runs during lunch break, and some of my classmates, they would drive past me and they'd see me in class the next hour and they're like, dude, were you running during lunch? I'm like, yeah. And I kind of like felt like I was that guy. I'm like, yeah, during lunch break, I'm that guy who goes and runs. Even like before school started, every single morning, our school bus would drop us off like 30 minutes before class started. So I would go into the weight room and I'd just do a quick little workout. And then I'd hang out after school to hang out in the weight room. Like, I was just that kid who would be around the gym as often as he could. So I always viewed myself as like this athletic kid. Yeah, I'm a runner. I have good stamina. I can do things. I actually was on, not to brag, but I was on the wall of fame in terms of the beep test in my high school. So they literally took a picture of me and they put like a big picture of me like on the gym wall. Yeah, definitely inflated my ego. So once again, I always thought that I was like just built different for some reason, and that inflated my ego big time. But as soon as I graduated high school and entered the real world where real people live, real elites, world-class athletes, right? I got a big fat slap in the face. I had a scholarship to play soccer. So I graduated high school. I'm like, yeah, like this is cool. I had a scholarship to play soccer. And first year, as soon as I entered, guess what happened? I did not play a single game. I got benched the entire season because I wasn't good enough. I thought I was good enough going into it, but I wasn't. Despite me training, working really hard, and this kind of goes to show you like how important genetics are too, but that's besides the point of this video. But I just wasn't as good as I thought I was, right? And ego will kill you so quickly. Being arrogant, thinking you're Mr. Big Shot, you're Mr. Tough Guy, you will get a huge slap in the face by reality if that is your mindset going into anything. Because without practicing, without going through the reps, without working hard for something, how do you expect to do well at something without practicing, studying? It just won't happen. No matter how good you think you are, no matter how good your genetics are. And at least for me, that was just a big reality check for me. It really, really was. And once again, same thing with my marathon. I told myself that I would crush it because I used to run a lot in the past, but I wasn't running anywhere near 26.2 miles leading up to it. And I did zero prep leading into it either. And guess what happened? At mile 18, I did pretty well, but at mile 18, my legs just completely locked up. I physically, and to this day, I've never experienced this before, but I physically could not move my legs. It was a very scary feeling, to be honest, because once again, I've never experienced anything like that before. And it wasn't like they were cramping. It was like they just shut off, just completely stopped working. And it's kind of like a weird thing to think about, right? Because we are in control of like the things we do, right? Like I'm in control of moving my hands. But as soon as you're not able to control your own body with your mind, it's kind of like trippy, especially if you've never experienced that before. I'm like, are my legs done? Like, am I just gonna die? Am I not gonna be able to ever use my legs ever again? Like all these thoughts were going through my head when it happened. So I had to literally sit down on the side of the road and I waited there for like 30 minutes. People were running by. People were telling me like, hey, just get up. Come on, finish strong. I'm like, dude, you do not understand. I physically cannot move. Like my mind was like trying to convince me like, come on, like get up, get up, get up. But this was one of those weird instances where despite my brain and my mindset telling me to keep on going, physically, I hit my limits. Physically, I was not able to move, which is quite ironic because the first lesson was that your body's capable of so much, it's just your mind that you have to convince. But this was like one of those only instances where the opposite was true, where my mind was strong enough to keep me going, but my body physically could not keep up. Anyway, I stayed there for 30 minutes. Thankfully, the ambulance car came and they gave me like this big jar of pickle juice. I downed it and I kept on laying there for another 30 minutes until eventually I probably had a bit more like salt electrolytes in my legs and I kind of felt a bit better. And then eventually I kind of like just walked the rest of it. It was very embarrassing. I finished in like over 5 hours. And as soon as I finished, I told myself this one very thing. I will never go into anything without preparation. And to this day, like I live by it. And sometimes those failures, those embarrassing moments are almost like your wake-up call of like, okay, I will never, ever do this again. I will never put my body through this again, right? Like imagine putting yourself through an actual marathon, like an actual marathon race, 26.2 miles with untrained legs. I mean, yeah, you're kind of asking for a disaster to happen. So don't be surprised if something horrible happens. But yeah, that was just a big, just kind of like slap in the face, wake-up call for me. Now, once again, that failure taught me more than any success ever did. And here's the funny thing. A lot of people who just experience success right away, like I did in high school, for example, right? Naturally, I'm good at running. Naturally, I did well at the beep test. Naturally, I was good at playing soccer until I entered the real world where, yeah, that's when I actually learned my lesson of like, okay, I gotta step it up now. I actually gotta work hard now. So I often, and this is another thing to kind of go off that, a lot of people fear failure. And I think it's just because of like the way we got raised, right? In the whole school system, if you get an F, like that's considered bad, right? Whenever you make a mistake, it's like you get punished, you're grounded, you did something bad, you're wrong, right? But when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to honestly just improving in any area of life, I think in my personal opinion, the only way that you can actually get better and see your own improvement is by actually failing and like almost like seeking failure, not being scared of it, but like seeking it. And now this doesn't mean like that you intentionally try to fail, but it means just push the boundaries a bit, get out of your comfort zone. Don't be scared if you have this big goal, but then you just fall slightly below it and you fall short. Don't be scared of that, because I guarantee you, by you setting this huge goal for yourself and then falling slightly short and failing, you are going to learn so much more about yourself and about the process and about everything you need in order to hopefully succeed one day, compared to setting small goals that you know deep down aren't really goals. Like, you know, you can do this pretty comfortably. And setting these mediocre goals, I think, also holds a lot of people back, because if you go through life only setting these small, eeny, meeny, mediocre goals of like, going back to my first lesson, right? It's like, okay, my only goal is to graduate high school. And then I just want to get a diploma or get my college degree. Like, most people are able to do that, right? But if you set these huge, big goals, you may not be able to accomplish them, but by failing, I guarantee you, you're going to learn so much more. And by learning these things, you get to reiterate and try again and actually avoid the pitfalls that you made last time. How do you think we have evolved as human beings on this planet? Because we've learned from other people's mistakes, from other people's failures. If people did not fail, we will probably still be apes. I don't even know what we will be. But because we have tried things, we've experimented. And as you can tell, just by looking at human evolution, we've just kept getting better and better and better at literally everything, right? Like, we live in a digital society with like AI now. Like 100 years ago, AI was not like even a thing. Wi-Fi wasn't even a thing. Lights just got invented. Like, it's crazy how much we're able to just speed up process by failing. So do not be scared of failure. Set those big goals. Get out of your comfort zone. Because once again, you're going to learn so much more about yourself than any success ever will. Now, to wrap up this point, arrogance fuels confidence, but preparation is actual confidence. Every goal punishes ego and rewards humility. If you skip steps, the process will collect payment later. The best performers are not cocky. They are respectful of the process. They respect the process and they know what it takes in order to get to where they want to get to. Moving on to lesson 4. You can achieve any goal because someone else has already done it. This is one of the most freeing realizations. If another human being on planet Earth has done what you want to do, it is possible for you as well. You do not need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need the perfect plan. You just need to copy what already works. Now, one of my favorite quotes I like telling myself and all of my clients is this: success leaves clues. And what I mean by that is that if you want to run a sub 4-hour marathon, a sub 3:30 marathon, a sub 3-hour marathon, you can ask other people who have done that before you and ask them like, hey, you were successful at this thing. I also want to be successful at this thing. How did you get successful at that thing so that I can also be successful at that thing? And by asking people, by seeking mentorship, by hiring coaches, by seeking out advice from people who have done the thing that you want to do, actually, more importantly, not only have done it themselves, but have helped other people that are like you do the same thing as well. Those are the two biggest things that I look for when it comes to hiring a coach or a mentor. Number one, do they practice what they preach themselves? So for example, if you're looking for a fat loss coach, you should look for two things. Number one, are they themselves in shape? Anyone can tell you to be in a calorie deficit, but are you going to listen to the person who is fat, or are you going to listen to the person who has six-pack abs? Despite them saying the exact same things, you're likely going to listen to the person who has six-pack abs just because they look like the parts. They're an authority. Whereas the fat person, it's like, well, yeah, they could have just quickly Googled that on Google. And again, a lot of fat people know how to get into better shape, but that does not mean, as you can tell by looking at them, that they're going to do anything with that, right? So number one, is the person who you want to help you, have they actually gone through it themselves? And are they living proof of it? If the answer is yes, you can move on to the next step, which is this. Have they helped other people who have gone through the process of what you want to go through? And ideally, if they're similar to you, maybe same ethnicity, same background, same issues, similar goals, similar upbringing, whatever, like the more identical it can be, the more you're like, okay, well, if he can do it, and if he has helped other people who are just like me do the same thing, I feel pretty confident this person can help me, right? And so most goals that you have in life have more than likely already been done by someone else. Whether it's a financial goal, a physical goal, a relationship goal, I guarantee you there is someone out there who has done the thing before. And so this is another important thing that you have to realize for yourself. And this kept me stuck for years, not from a physical perspective, but more so from a financial perspective. I knew financially where I wanted to be and what I wanted to get to. And I just kept seeking free advice. I kept watching these free YouTube videos, trying to figure it out on my own. But it wasn't until I paid someone, invested into someone else, invested into myself to get the education that I needed in order to get me to where I want to be. Because right now you're paying a huge tax, which is arrogance tax. If your goal is to make $1 million a year and you're only making 50 grand a year, the tax that you pay is $950,000 every single year in arrogance tax for you not knowing how to make $1 million a year. If you want to lose 50 pounds of fat and you're 50 pounds overweight, every single day you're paying arrogance tax of not being where you want to get to. So as soon as you start paying that off, the sooner you will get to your goal. And once again, most people don't have these huge, ambitious goals. At least not that big that like no one else has ever done it. Unless you're Elon Musk, right? Who is just this absolute wizard. You likely have goals that are achievable. Let's be honest here. So all you're going to have to do is just find someone who's done the thing and then just like hire them, pay them, ask them, like just do something. The fastest way to get to where you want to get to, whether it's running a marathon, doing a bodybuilding show, losing the weight, getting into that relationship, earning more money, is by hiring, investing in yourself, hiring a coach, hiring a mentor. This very thing has just fast-tracked it my entire life. It's absolutely changed my life. I would not be sitting here talking to you guys today, living in this beautiful apartment, living in Houston, Texas, on my own in this amazing apartment building, high-rise, sky-rise, whatever, running marathons on a whim, right? Doing bodybuilding shows, being the healthiest I've ever been if it wasn't for me investing into myself. So get rid of the ego, get rid of the arrogance, because if you truly knew what you wanted to do and what you had to do, you'd already be doing it and you would not be probably watching this video. Right? So put skin in the game, get uncomfortable, and start taking action. Because you are not incapable. Going back to what I said at the first lesson, you are capable of so much. It's just your mind that you have to convince, right? But you are not incapable. But because you value time, structure, and accountability, every single breakthrough I've had came from learning from other people ahead of me. Now, to wrap up this video, let's end it off with lesson number 5. You do not lack information. You lack implementation. This is the hard truth. We live in a world with unlimited information. Workout plans, meal plans, calorie calculators. Free content is everywhere. You are bombarded by free content left, right, and center. Open up your phone. Open up your iPad. Open up the newspaper. Who reads newspapers nowadays? Whatever. You get the idea. If information was the problem, nobody would be overweight. But here we are. The gap is not knowledge. The gap is doing the boring things consistently. Implementation beats intelligence. Repetition beats motivation. And systems beats willpower. Those are the rules that I live by. Implement, repetition, systems. And once you accept that, progress becomes simple. Not easy, because nothing worth having is easy, but simple. Anyone can do it. I'm a huge believer in that. Anyone can do anything they set their minds to. It's just your mind that you have to convince. Now, to wrap this up, running my 5th marathon reminded me of this. Your body is capable, your goals are possible, the path already exists. And all there's left is deciding to actually commit to these goals, check your ego, fuel properly, and just execute. Now, for myself moving forward, you're probably wondering, okay, Cohnan, you've done 5 marathons. What's next? You're going to do another marathon? What about the High Rocks? You did the High Rocks competition last November. Are you planning on doing another High Rocks? What about bodybuilding? You've done 3 or 4? I believe 3. Yeah. No. Okay, yeah. 3 bodybuilding shows. You've done 3 bodybuilding shows. Are you going to do another bodybuilding show? So here's what's the game plan for me is moving forward. In February, I will be doing another marathon in Austin, Texas. In March, I will be doing another High Rocks competition here in Houston, Texas. Those are the 2 that I've already invested into, that I've already signed up to. So those are happening. Pen and paper, it's set in stone, it's happening. Bodybuilding, likely not. I just don't like the way it made me feel. I love the way it made me look, but I'm really starting to shift more towards endurance, performance-based sports. I love how that makes me feel, not only during the training, prepping for it, but like how it makes me feel afterwards. I love the lifestyle around it. I get to eat more food, which is always nice. And I actually get to look at it during the process too. It's quite literally combining everything that I love into just like one thing, where I get to fuel my body. I get to eat healthy, nutritious foods. I get to perform well. I also get to look good because like I'm still doing my bodybuilding type workouts. I have better endurance. Just quality of life is so much better. So this is like my way moving forward. It's just hybrid athletes. I can run, I can lift, I can do everything. And that just makes me feel really, really good. But to actually answer that question, my big long-term goal, and I typically don't really like talking about myself a whole lot. I like providing you guys with value, but I think it's important for you guys to kind of stay in touch with what I am doing, right? So I'm talked about those 2 competitions that I'll be doing, but my goal may not be by the end of this year. That is, ideally I like it to happen by the end of this year, but the sub 3 hours during a marathon is like, it won't escape my mind until I actually reach it. So first marathon was over 5 hours, complete failure. Second marathon was 3 hours and 58 minutes. Third marathon was 3 hours and 15 minutes. Fourth marathon was 3 hours and 24 minutes, the one I did in Hawaii last month. And then this past marathon was 3 hours and 18 minutes. So I was literally 3 minutes shy of my all-time PR. And I'll be honest, that frustrated me. It pissed me off. I'm like, damn. I ran 26.2 miles only to fall 3 minutes short of my all-time PR. That sucks. And so my goal is to get that sub 3 hour marathon. There it is. I've said it. It's out there. Everyone knows it on YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. It's out there. So it's going to happen. Hopefully by the end of this year, if not next year. But I'm going to do everything within my power, within my control to get there. I know physically I'm capable of doing it because once again, going back to one of my lessons, if someone else has done it, you can do it too. But what's required is just proper planning, proper strategy, proper coaching, proper fueling, and just doing things properly. Success leaves clues. So hopefully you guys took something out of this video. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to go drop this video a like. If you guys have any other questions for me, leave them down below. And yeah, I'll see you all soon. Peace.